Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Professional Coaching for Work and Life and Work information session for UC Davis, continuing in professional education. We are so excited that you joined us today, and we're excited to be able to share a little bit about our program with you. But more than that, we're excited to engage with you and hear from you what questions you have about our program and how we can be here to assist you. Kind of to start this off, what we'd love to start by knowing is what brought you here with us today. So we've got a little poll to get us started, and in that we're going to just ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're exploring the UC Davis coaching program. Maybe you're a life coach or interested in becoming a life coach. Maybe you currently coach and you're looking to get the credential. Maybe you coach within an organization, kind of an internal coach, maybe a leadership coach or an executive coach, and you'd like to add this to your resume. We hear often that friends or colleagues or even our alumni might have referred you to our program, and lots of people are just generally interested in coaching, the topic of coaching. So, Heather, what is happening in our poll? What does it look like? What are we seeing?
We've got them coming in. We'll go ahead and close it out, and if you missed this one, we'll get you on the next one. All right, so let's take a look.
Wow.
A lot of life coaches here today, so that's awesome. And then a little bit of a mix of everything else. So we have a coach in the midst who's looking for a certification and something for your resume. So that's excellent. We get a whole mix of people in the program. We get everything from complete newbies who have never coached anybody a day in their life to people who are already executive coaches at Intel or Google. And but they want to get certified. So and that's kind of also by design. Our program is built with a really diverse group of people so that the learning is rich and you can learn from each other while you're in there. So we'll talk more about that later. But you guys look like the right group of people. So let's keep going.
Awesome, and thank you for engaging in that poll with us. We'll have a few more polls throughout the session. Before we dive down into specifics, we want to tell you who we are. So I'm Crystal, and I help to manage the UC Davis coaching program here.
And I'm Heather. I help manage it with Crystal.
Yeah. And in addition to us, we have a whole group of people who are here Monday through Friday in our student services office that are happy to help answer any questions that you might have. So as you're considering our program or have questions that come up, you can reach out to our student services office. They're very knowledgeable and willing to help. Or you can reach out to Heather and I. And when you join the program and you're accepted and you're a student in the program, Heather and I are here as your personal advisors to guide you and help you through and just continue to make sure that your experience is successful and you're getting what you need out of the coaching program.
Yeah.
In addition to Heather and I, you have other resources that we want to let you know about here. We have two program directors that are very involved in the coaching program and hold the design of the curriculum. Carol Bennett, who's a PCC certified coach, and we'll talk a little bit about ICF certification later in the information session. And Michelle Payne, who's an MCC certified coach through ICF. Carol has been more what they call an internal coach within an organization, has done a lot of work with Sutter Health, an executive coach and managing consultant. And Michelle Payne owns her own coaching business, both does sort of life coaching individually and company corporate training coaching through her company. So they have together a wide variety of ranges and experience and specialties, and you get to learn from them and their expertise in the program, in addition to the other instructors and mentors that you'll partner with through our program. And today online, we are incredibly grateful to have one of our outstanding alumni, Angela Lindley, with us. Hi, Angela.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Angela, you completed the coaching program in 2017.
Correct.
Yeah. So you are going to share a little bit about your experiences, what you enjoyed about the program, and we get to ask you some questions throughout the information session, I believe.
Sounds awesome.
All right. And not only are we going to ask Angela questions, but if you have questions and you want to hear the answer from, we can always answer it from a program perspective, administrative point of view. But any questions that you have through the information session, you can direct them to Angela and we can get a student perspective on it from that inside point of view. I guess that kind of leads me into my next slide, which is, while we have a planned information session for you today, we do have prepared slides and we have some information that we're going to share with you. A lot of it's kind of frequently asked questions, things that we get asked a lot. But more than that, this information session is your session. So we would love to engage with you. If we're talking about something and something comes to your mind, you have a thought or a question, please weigh in through our Q&A forum. Heather will be monitoring out throughout the session, and we'll just jump right in. As you have questions, we'll add them to the information session, and everyone on the session can learn from your questions. And again, if you have questions for Angela, if I'm answering or Heather's answering something from an administrative perspective and you'd love to hear, hey, what was the student perspective on that? Just let us know through the chat. We'll go ahead and throw it to Angela. All right. I mentioned that we have a planned presentation for you today. And so here's the overview outline of our agenda. We're going to touch a little bit about what coaching is. We'll talk about our program details and the philosophy behind our program. You will learn some specifics about our program schedule and the definition of what goes into our program. And then we're going to talk about the International Coach Federation and our relationship to them as an accredited coach training provider for ICF. So if you have never heard of ICF, by the time you're done with this information session, you will know more than you did now. And then there's some additional program benefits that we want to make sure that you know about before we end the session with our Q&A. We do have that dedicated time at the end to engage with you and answer any lingering questions that you might have. But as I mentioned earlier, this session is so much more fun when you guys are chiming in all the way through. So please don't save your questions until the end. Please feel free to include them throughout our session. And yeah. So we're going to start by telling you a little bit about what coaching is. And you can read the description on the screen. This description of coaching comes from the ICF, the International Coach Federation, and it's their defined definition of what coaching is. And I always think it's interesting because one of our instructors, she'll lead with this quote oftentimes in her class, and she'll ask you, when you read this quote in front of you, what words stand out to you? And so if you read through it, I'm curious what words stand out to you. You can go ahead and type them in the Q&A or the chat if you want to. We'll read through the definition real quickly. Coaching is partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Heather, what words are coming through or are people noticing?
All right, we've got personal, maximizing potential. For me, I love the inspires and maximize. I'm also a maximizer, so I love that word. Another inspires, self-inspires.
Yeah.
It's a great exercise. She also, you work with these words, and then eventually she has you try and make your own definition. And as you work it, you find that you kind of come back to this one because it's such a good definition, creative and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Because you really are, you're getting to partner with somebody and get creative together. And so.
And I love the word partnering because sometimes when you're thinking about coaching, you might think you're leading someone to a conclusion. But when you really learn about what coaching is and what it isn't, it really is a true partnership where the client holds all of the answers within them and the coach partners with them to help them figure out what they really want, where they really want to go.
And that does make it different from some of the other stuff that you have listed there.
Yeah, and you can see below what coaching is not. And so here's an example of something you'll dig into a lot deeper into the coaching program to really understand this. But oftentimes coaching is confused with maybe mentoring or therapy or counseling or even consulting, where mentors are meant to be the subject matter expert and tell you you're pairing with a mentor because they're the expert and you want their advice and guidance. A coach, we don't have to be an expert, which is a really nice thing. It's a really freeing thing to not have to be an expert and have all the answers, that the client has the answers. Or, therapists are really about looking backwards, dealing with past hurt and pain and helping people move forward. But coaching is taking someone where they are right now, not looking backwards, but forward momentum, moving them forward from where they are right now to where they want to go. How do we get there? And so you'll learn, again, a lot about these different specifics of these different areas and careers, and how coaching is different and how you can help partner and inspire people by being their coach and working with them in that capacity. Angela, anything on this slide that stands out to you?
I think that when I went into the program, this was a really interesting exercise for me, both to develop my own definition of coaching and then also to understand what coaching is not. Because coaching is something really special. And I would go back to what you said about the word partnership. It really is a partnership between the coach and the client. And it's just a really sort of a beautiful relationship that two people develop through the coaching process.
Thanks, Angela. That's awesome. Yes, I agree with everything that you said. And I think, when you guys get in the coaching program, you'll find that for yourself. Well, as we move on in the information session, one question we have for you is, have you ever had a coach? Maybe you have had a coach, or maybe you're currently working with a coach, or maybe you have never had the experience of having a coach, a personal coach, a life coach, but you would love it. You would like to have a coach and kind of see what that experience is like to be a client. Or you might have no interest in being coached. You're just here to learn to be a coach and don't want to be a client. And so all of those are perfectly acceptable options. And then there's an other, and I'm noticing that there's some others. I'm really curious. For those of you that are marking other, feel free to put in the chat or the Q&A, like what that other is, so we can make sure to reflect it in our future polls. I'd love to know. Cool. Yeah. What does it look like?
All right. So we've got people who have had coaching before, are currently working with coaching. At least half of you folks are involved with coaching right now in one way or another. And then we have some interested folks. So you haven't done it before, but you'd love to give it a try. And part of our program includes pairing the students with volunteers to be clients. And so that can be a great way to engage with the program and learn a little bit about what it's like to be a client before you take the program, which is something we can talk about later. And you can also email me and we can talk details. But yeah, we can definitely help you guys get some client experience.
Yeah, one of our instructors used to say often that coaches have coaches. And I think that there's something to that. If you've experienced being a client and starting that relationship with a coach and what worked and what didn't work, what would you do? From that vantage point to be a client, it can help you truly when you step into that relationship as a coach. So cool.
We had a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
Are we recruiting for clients primarily? And that's a good question.
Yeah.
No, we're here today, at least today, to talk about recruiting for the class, to make future coaches. We do put out what we call a call for clients. So at the beginning of each cohort, the winter and the summertime, we look to the community to be volunteers within the program. And there's an application that you would fill out, and I'd be happy to send that to you guys. You'll have my email after this session. So yeah, if you're looking to receive a little bit of coaching and get a taste, we can provide that with our program. You apply and see if you match up with a student. But the focus of this particular session is to see if you want to be a coach and do the coaching.
Well said, Heather.
All right.
So one other thing that we want to share with you about our program is that at UC Davis, we get a lot of questions. Actually, when people call us, they will ask well, what's the difference between your program and other programs? And I think that one of the big differentiators between our program and other programs that you might be researching online is that there are a lot of programs very focused on special niches or specializations. So you might find programs that are really focused on spiritual coaching or relationship coaching or executive coaching, business coaching. Our program is based on the ICF, the International Coach Federation's core competencies. ICF has a list of 11 competencies, and they have done a lot of research to show that no matter what specialty or niche that you're coaching in, if you know these foundational pieces, like active listening, powerful questioning, building trust and intimacy, that you can coach in any of these niches and be successful. That there's sort of certain foundational building blocks that every coach should be able to know and work on becoming expert in. And those are the foundational building blocks of our program. And it's actually a really great way that builds diversity in our program, because people will come into our program. Some people want to be spiritual coaches, life coaches, internal executive coaches within their organization. Some people have come in and don't want to be a coach at all. They want to be a parent and a better parent, and they want to get skills to work, to talk to people in life. And so people are coming into our program with all these different things they want to get out of it. And it builds such a great diverse cohort and diversity in opinions. And yeah, what would you say about that?
Yeah, I'm curious, Angela, did you see any of that diversity or range of goals in your cohort?
Oh my gosh. There was such an interesting mix of people in my cohort. I was actually just thinking about that as you were talking a minute ago. I had several clergy members who were looking to take more of a coach approach to kind of, their clergy life. And then there were several executives who wanted to lead with more of a coach approach. There were several people who wanted to start their own life coaching businesses. We had a nurse who wanted to be able to use coaching with her patients. And so there were a lot of really, really interesting, it was a great mix of people. It really was.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. And Angela, I should have asked you, before you took the coaching program, had you ever had a coach?
I had not. And so I kind of went in with this curiosity about what's this going to be like. This is really fascinating. And it really was. It's just an amazing experience. But I could definitely see the benefit of having had a coach before you go into the program. I would actually recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you. So we've kind of gone over what coaching is and our program philosophy. Now we're going to start talking a little bit about our program details. So our program is made up of 5 courses. Each of these courses happen over a duration of a few weeks. They're spread apart. So our program overall is a 5-month-long program, Fridays and Saturdays. You'll see that in a minute. And these classes kind of fall within that range of the 5 months, and they vary in duration. Coaching Essentials is really focused on that, what coaching is and what it isn't, and how you would describe yourself as a coach. When someone asks you, what is coaching? It's harder than you think to answer and to give a really great, short, succinct description of what coaching is and what you can do for them as a coach. So you really walk through that and you build that foundation where you start feeling comfortable talking to people about coaching and setting up that relationship and figuring out how to build that trust and intimacy. And it's the foundations of the program, the building blocks of the ICF core competencies. The second class is our core competencies class. And I think this class is so much fun because this is the juicy class where you get super hands-on with all of the competencies. You don't just hear about active listening and what it is. I mean, we've heard the term active listening before, but you get some serious experiential practice with active listening, and you get to figure out how easy or difficult it is for you. You know, I know that I'm an interrupter, and I've had to work on that in my life. And so there's just so many opportunities in this class to learn how to ask a powerful question, how to build trust and intimacy, how you establish a relationship with a client, what kind of questionnaire do you have them fill out? How do you go over confidentiality agreements? All these kinds of things that you learn to build your skills and core competencies. Personal Foundations is really about you at first, to be honest, the coach, because you have to have a good personal foundation. You have to have a solid base within yourself if you're going to partner with a client and help them. So you learn a lot about values. How to define your values, how to understand your values, and how to understand how that impacts and drives your life. Your limiting beliefs, what might be holding you back, how to figure out where you need to draw boundaries in your life and help create some space around drawing boundaries. And as you learn about your own personal foundation and all these tools that you're learning about yourself in the class, you can turn them around and use them all with your clients as you move forward in your career and in your practice or whatever you plan to do with coaching. And then coaching conversations is another really fun and juicy class because you start learning lots of tools. By then you have done lots of coaching practice. You've learned all the core competencies. You've been practicing with the foundation of coaching and you have a solid understanding. And now you get to figure out all these really cool, fun tools that you can use with your clients to help dig down deep, to understand what's going on beyond the surface. You know, the thing isn't the thing. Someone comes to you for one thing, and as a coach, you learn that there's always something else going on, and that class really helps you dig deep. And then Coach Mastery is really about you as the coach and what you want to do. It helps you define your own personal vision statement. What do you want to do as a coach? Now that you have this newfound knowledge and you've been practicing and you are about to get your certificate and walk into the world as a UC Davis coach, what is your personal path? What are your next steps? Helping you define that and really make plans and goal setting for yourself before you walk into the world. So that's kind of an overview of the different classes. Angela, I'm curious for you, which of these classes stands out now a few years later?
Oh, wow. Probably personal foundations. The amount of self-awareness that you get out of that class is really pretty astonishing. You just become so much more aware of your own tendencies. Like you said, you're an interrupter. I know that I have a lot of, mm-hms and, nonverbal cues in my speech. And I try to, be mindful of that when I'm coaching someone because it can interrupt their thought process. It was an extremely valuable class for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Heather, before I move on to the next slide, if we had any questions that have come in that anyone's wondering about, I want to just save space for that.
Yeah, sure. We had a question about the age range in the class. So, and it's great because I can't talk about the diversity enough. I think it's pretty cool. We get everybody 30 to 65 over, you name it. And occupations, we get everything from midtown bartenders to, like I'd said before, Intel executives, stay-at-home moms, people, career changers, post-retirement. The mix is incredible. So you certainly should not feel uncomfortable about being different in the class because it's just a fantastic mix.
Yep. Yeah, really. There's no age where you're too young for it or too old for it or not right for it. We really do get a mix, and anyone who has the passion for people and an interest in the topic can be a great coach.
We have a question, which is a great leading question into what we have coming up, I think.
Perfect,
question about, is it every Friday, all day, and Saturday?
All right.
So let's talk a little bit about scheduling.
Thank you so much for that question. All right. So a little bit more about our program structure. And I mentioned earlier differentiators. I'm sure you're looking at lots of different programs out there. And another thing I find that tends to be a differentiator for our program is that our program is all in person at our Sacramento classroom location. Our Sacramento classroom is located in downtown. You can see it's right by the riverfront, the Tower Bridge, Old Town, and right just steps away from the Capitol. So a really beautiful central location in downtown Sacramento. We've got a parking garage attached to our building, so really easy to find parking, and parking is provided in the program. The program runs twice a year, Fridays and Saturdays from 9 to 4. So right now we're recruiting or talking to you about our summer quarter program. That program starts in July, and then we'll offer it again in January. So we run it kind of twice a year. We're going to go into the exact schedule in just a second, but before I do that, look at that. There's another poll.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a poll.
Well, we were just talking about how we're in person and we're in Sacramento, so we wanted to get a chance to see where you guys are located. I know that location can be a big factor for folks.
Yeah.
And as these votes come in, we'll see exactly where you guys are. But we actually end up with people from all over the world We have folks, an international participant, every cohort really. We have folks from other states. This cohort, we've got somebody flying from Ohio. Last cohort, we had 2 people flying from DC every other weekend. Bay Area, we always have a large chunk of folks from Bay Area. They'll commute together or get Airbnbs together. So let's take a look at what you guys look like.
Wow, look at that. More Bay Area people than Sacramento people, which was interesting, yeah. And the program is designed to be formatted in a way that it's possible for people who live out of town to come to the program. If you're from the Bay Area, some people choose to stay overnight that Friday night to Saturday or go home and come back. So absolutely, like Heather said, we have a lot of people, a lot of diversity in where people are from. Angela, in your cohort, do you recall if there was anyone from outside of the Sacramento area, Bay Area, Southern California, other states?
Absolutely. We had 2 people, actually one person who worked in HR at Disney, and one other person from the LA area who flew up, and they just had, actually one of them was able to get, make an arrangement with a hotel to get a certain rate that she had every time she came up. We had people from the San Jose area, lots of people from the Bay Area. We had someone from Redding. I don't think we had anyone from out of state in my cohort, but certainly all corners of California.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, that diversity really shows in your cohort as well. Thank you, Angela. All right. And then I have one more, let's see, I think screen about our program format. So you can see it. I know I kind of talked generally about dates, but here you can see them very specifically. So right now we're accepting applications for our summer quarter coaching program. It starts July 17th and ends December 5th. And you can see that some of the classes are 1 week, 2 classes, and some of them are over like 3-week periods. But generally speaking, the classes will be a Friday, Saturday 1 week, and then they'll have a break in between, and then a Friday, Saturday the following week, and then a break week in between. So they're pretty stretched out over a 5-month period. You might also know from notice from the schedule in front of you that I talked about those 5 classes earlier, but there's 2 things that are called demo days that are stuck in here. And I think the demo days are so cool. What the demo days are times for you to practice coaching in front of your cohort where you get really amazing, what we call feed forward on your coaching. So you really learn what you're doing well, and you get lots of celebration from your cohort. There's always a mentor or instructor in the room that's giving you very professional feed forward, in addition to your cohort that loves you and wants to celebrate you. And also, everyone has really great feed forward on what you can work on, where your natural strengths are and where you can spend a little bit more time focusing all around the competencies, what competencies you're doing really well in and what competencies you can kind of focus on and tighten up as you move forward to become a more expert or masterful coach. And I do want to say that while we have these 2 structured demo days for coaching here, that is not the only space in our program for coaching. You will coach from pretty much the very beginning of the coaching program. Once you start in core competencies for sure, our program is really based on experiential learning. They're practice-based assignments, and while we have assignments in the class, it's not traditional essay assignments. It's all based around practice, coaching, so you're doing that throughout the whole program. Yeah. Angela, anything about kind of our program being experiential based or practice based that you would add to?
I would. One thing that was really fascinating about the way this program was set up was that you are never sitting still for very long. I do not remember getting bored even one time during this program, because they have you up and moving around and working in small groups and going out, outside of the classroom to a quiet space to coach with other people. You will definitely work with every person in your cohort and get to know them. And I just found it a really engaging way to learn overall.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. All right, so kind of winding down on the basic structure of our courses before we move on to, I think, ICF certification. The tuition for the program is $8,325, and that price is all inclusive. There will be no other hidden fees that you'll find. That's the full price of the program. Within that, it includes your tuition, your course materials. We're going to talk about in a minute, but you'll be paired with a personal PCC or higher level mentor in the program. You get paired with clients. I'll talk a little bit more about that. We've already kind of touched on it in the program, all included. Parking's included, your application fee is included, and lunches and coffee in the morning. It's all included in that price. So for our upcoming summer application deadline, our deadline is March 23rd. So if you're thinking about the program, March 23rd is the date that you're going to want to get your application in by. We're going to talk more about the application, what it looks like, and how to submit it later on in the information session. But that March 23rd date is important. Also important to note, there's no fee to submit your application. So you can go online, check it out, fill it out, submit it with no pressure or fees attached. And then once you're accepted into the program is where we'll say, okay, now we start talking to you about payments. So just want to throw it out there. Anything on that, Heather, that you want to add? Or
I think that's great.
Okay. Any questions that have come in that I should stop and answer, or keep moving?
No, I think we're good. Let's keep going.
All right. Cool. So one of the many benefits of our program, I think, is really that it's a cohort-based program. So you saw those 5 classes, and those 5 classes, your group will start together and end together. And Angela alluded to it earlier, but you really get to know those people very well. You coach with them, you're with them through all the classes. And this cohort of people end up becoming part of our alumni community. And we have a huge alumni network of coaches. Our coaching program has been in existence for 11 years now, once to twice a year, and we have 20 to 30 students in every cohort. So that alumni network is a robust group of people that have done a whole range of different things with their coaching certificate. We have different opportunities to connect with our alumni. We have an annual alumni event where you can use them as resource. Our alumni come into class and help you with different assignments and tools that you're working on. And we have a closed Facebook group where our alumni are all in this one location, and you can ask questions. If you're looking to start your business, what type of insurance should I get? They've all been through it. So that community is such a great resource as you're starting to learn new things or do new things. Mm-hmm. Angela, just curious at how you might weigh in on this community of alumni that we have as part of it, or the benefits of being, part of a cohort environment.
Yeah, well, I would echo what you said about it really being a community. I have definitely reached out several times with questions that I've had, and I found answers. People are very, very happy to share their experiences, what has worked for them, what has not worked for them. People share articles in there every day. And it is really just a very supportive environment. And it keeps me connected to the people in my cohort in a very real way. So I've really appreciated having that.
Thank you. Great. And we're looking forward to you guys joining and being a part of that group, that cohort, and then the alumni community. Definitely. So this kind of leads us into the next section of our information session, which is talking a little bit about the International Coach Federation and how our program connects. So as we lead into that, I'd love to know through this poll, are you familiar with the International Coach Federation, or ICF? Maybe you found us through their website or are familiar with them, or maybe you never really heard about them and you'd like to learn more. We kind of would love to gauge your familiarity, and that'll help me determine how much I talk about ICF and what they are and how we're connected. So let's see here. Right. Heather, what are we learning?
So votes are still coming in, but okay. It looks like we have some familiar, mostly everybody is familiar. So I'm going to go ahead and close it and let's take a look. Yes, definitely interested in the credential. You're here because of the ICF and you found us, at least half of you, and looks like most of the rest are are less familiar but willing to learn. So let's dive into the ICF and what it is and why we're connected.
All right, here we go. Thanks, Heather. So the ICF, or the International Coach Federation, is highly regarded as the gold standard in coaching credentialing. So when you become an ICF certified coach, you get to put this sort of tag behind your name. You see at the bottom of the screen, associate certified coach, professional certified coach, master certified coach. So I become Crystal Babawal, comma, ACC, if I'm an associate certified coach. Or Angela Lindley. Angela, you are an ICF certified coach, correct?
I am.
Yeah, and you're an ACC?
Yes.
Yes, and are you working towards your PCC?
I am, yeah. An ACC is 100 hours of coaching, and a PCC, I believe, is 500 hours now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, I am moving in that direction.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's
Thank
a huge
you.
accomplishment.
Thank you.
And so our program is what's considered an ACTP, an accredited coach training program through ICF. So our program meets the requirements that you need, everything except for, I'll show you in a minute, all of your coaching hours, which does take a little while of practice and time, to get your ICF certification once you're done with our UC Davis coaching program. So some people want a UC Davis coaching certificate, and that is good. That's good for what they need, and that's totally fine. But some people also want to get ICF certification. They want a credential. And if that's you, our program is a great way to do that. As an ACTP, we're basically an all-inclusive pathway to ICF certification. You'll get 150 coach-specific training hours through our program. You get the mentor coaching that you need for your credentialing through our program, and we pair you with clients that gets you some unpaid pro bono hours from the beginning. And so we'll dive down into the specifics. If you are interested in getting ICF certification after our program, this is what it takes to become an ICF credentialed coach. You have to go through the ACTP path is the quickest way to get there. You have to get that, go through an accredited coach training program, for which we are. You have to fulfill the mentor coach requirements. So in our program, you're paired with a personal PCC or higher ICF mentor coach you get 3 personalized sessions with them. And through those sessions, they'll listen to your coaching recordings, and they'll give you really good feed forward on where you're growing and what's, strengths they see in your coaching, and also where you can continue to grow. And that feed forward throughout the program is so valuable to help you identify. Sometimes it's hard to self-identify what exactly, where your areas of opportunity are. And so having someone else tell you what they see is really valuable. Also, for the ACTP, you'll need 2 reference letters from qualified coaches. You will meet so many qualified coaches in our program. Between our instructors and the mentors and the alumni community, you'll have no lack of qualified reference opportunities. And then you will need to take an exam, a small online exam, and our program is based on these core competencies that make up the exam. Angela, tell me about your experience taking that exam online. How difficult was it to study after you completed our program?
Oh, not at all. And in fact, when I took the exam, I realized that, most of what I needed to know, I had already learned in the program. So it didn't require a huge amount of review on my part at all.
And how long after completing the program did you sit for that exam? Was it right after you finished the program?
No, I actually waited a couple of years. I believe you can't take the exam until you have the hours.
Yes.
And it took me a little while to get those hours, but it really wasn't a big deal to study for the exam. I think I was much more worried about it than I needed to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that's true. People hear exam and there's a lot of anxiety that can be produced over the word exam. But to be honest, in my 7 years of helping with the coaching program, I have yet to meet an alumni who told me they couldn't pass the exam or had a difficulty with the exam after completing our program. Our program really does set you up for success on that exam. So I want to clear your anxiety, but acknowledge that if you have some, it's true and right, and that's okay. And then, so the one thing that you will need to do after our program is continue to finish your coaching hours. So to get your ACC through ICF, you need a total of 100 hours. 75 of those hours must be paid, and 25 of those hours can be unpaid. So we help you start getting those coaching hours when you're in our program. I mentioned, and Heather mentioned, that we pair you with clients. I think that there is a lot of anxiety, especially if you've never coached before, in pairing with a client for the first time, finding someone and introducing yourself as a coach and telling them that you're new to this. And so this opportunity that our program provides to pair you with people who know that you're a coach in training and that they're getting the opportunity to get coaching free of charge, but that it's a learning opportunity. You know, you're growing through each session with them. Is a really good opportunity, and an opportunity for you to work on those 25 unpaid hours throughout our program. Also good to know, like some of you might be working in a capacity where you're currently coaching. Maybe you work in an organization and you are coaching people right now. The day you start an accredited coach training program or our program, you can start tracking coaching hours. So some people have seen in our program, this is what they are doing full-time. They're going through our program and they're becoming full-time coach, and they spend a lot of time and energy trying to get those hours as close to the end of our program as they can, and that is great. And other people are working full-time. They've got a full-time family. This is what they're trying to do kind of on the side in their spare time, and it might take longer. It might take a couple years to get those hours. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. Everyone has kind of their own individual path. Angela, I'm curious, when you started our program, did you have the intention of, I want to get ICF certification from day one?
I did, actually. The certification is really important to me because the ICF is sort of the gold standard. And since this program sets you up so well to get that certification, I decided I wanted to go ahead and do it.
And I know that like Angela and I both say gold standard, right? Some people might say like, well, what's the gold standard? And I think our instructors explain it well in the program. And I've heard it explained as in the past, coaching has been sort of undefined in terms of who can call themselves a coach. And there has been lots of years of coaching building up authenticity and research on coaching and coaching-based practices where kind of anyone could say that they were a coach. But more and more, coaching is becoming very professionalized. And so like any professional degree where you have formal training and then say that you hold a specific designation, ICF is really that designation for coaching. Like a UC Davis certificate, a university certificate in coaching holds a lot of weight when you're talking to people or potential clients about why they should hire you. I know there's a lot of really great coaching programs out there, but some coaching programs mean something to people who are coaches, but if you're a client out in the world, you might not know what that organization's name means. University of California, Davis is one of those that people can understand. Oh, okay. And our program is an academic credit-based program. It's approved by UC Davis main campus for 15 academic units of credit. So it really is an academic credit-bearing program. And then the ICF designation, again, it holds weight. When you introduce yourself as a coach or you're applying to be a coach within a company or whatever you hope to do with it, to say that you're an ICF credentialed coach and that you have this designation, it really holds a lot of weight in the industry. And it can separate you from other people who are coaches out there.
Well said. We had a couple questions on the details.
Details.
So about the hours. So for your ACC, we mentioned that you need 100 hours total, and that's broken down of 75 paid and 25 non-paid. So you need all total, before you take that test, you'll need 100 hours.
Yes.
And then the paid hours, they don't define what counts as paid. So there are things like barter coaching, where you may coach another student in the program and you say, I'll sell you an hour of coaching in return for an hour of coaching. Or you may coach family and charge them $5. So that part is left up to you for those paid coaching hours.
But what is true is that you'll become intimately familiar with the ethics of coaching. Can I just add this?
Yes.
And you will understand what a true coaching session is, and that you don't just say, oh yeah, I talked to someone for half an hour, that's coaching. But that to truly be a coaching session, there's a process that you abide by and you follow. And as coaches, we learn the ethical guidelines and standards under ICF, and that is how we abide by and log our hours. So we're not trying to trick anyone, but there are some ways through it where you don't have to be charging $150 an hour to get the 75 hours of paid coaching. There are ways to do it, to charge whatever your rate is, and your rate can be anything you define it to be. Or as Heather mentioned, barter coaching. And I've heard people like barter coach with their hairdressers. I'll coach you and you do my hair, or really creative things. And I'm thinking, man, that's cool. So, so yeah.
I will admit to having coached for Starbucks before.
See all the perks that you can get as you're learning to coach and getting those hours. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Let's keep going.
Okay, keeping going. So just to kind of recap some of the all-inclusive benefits of being part of our program, I mentioned that you get this personal mentor coach in the program who's a PCC or higher ICF credentialed coach. They help listen to your coaching recordings and guide you to masterful coaching and help you to really define the competencies. You get paired with clients in the programs. The client pairing is optional. So if you do not have any interest in ICF certification as you're in our program and you don't want to be paired with a client, that is fine. But we also have a list of people who want coaching. So you might say, I want 2 clients or 3 clients, and I know they're pro bono, and that's okay, but I want as much coaching experience as I can get. Great. When you're in the program, let us know, and we're happy to help connect you with our resources of clients and get you that experience, so we can work with you on that.
Yeah, and I like to mention that the mentor coaching, it's amazing that we have that as part of the program, because to do that outside of a program in order to get your ICF credential can cost up to like $2,000 to pay someone to be your mentor. So to have that, you don't have to think about it. You just sign up for the program and you're taken care of. It's really nice.
Yeah, great. All right, and then another benefit, we're kind of winding down the information session. So I just want to mention again, if there's lots of lingering questions, this is a good time to throw them in our Q&A forum so that we can make sure and answer them. Another program benefit for being part of the UC Davis Coaching Certificate is that we have an articulation agreement with University of the Pacific. So if you have ever thought about getting a master's degree, you do have to hold a bachelor's degree. But if you've ever thought about getting a master's degree and have not yet, when you're done with our coaching certificate program, you are already 3 courses complete to a master's program. All you have left is 7 classes and a capstone, and you can get a master's in organizational learning and effectiveness through University of the Pacific. It's a really great program with lots of very cool topics, like more in depth on coaching, design thinking, lots of other topics that make up this organizational learning and effectiveness master's program. If it's something that you're like, that's interesting, I'd like to learn more about that, I might consider that, let us know. We can talk to you one-on-one. We can get you in touch with the University of the Pacific advisor so they can tell you a little bit about the program. And they have free information sessions online about their program as well, so that you can think about from the get-go how you might do both of our programs. In addition, I like to mention we have a lot of coaching alumni who've now taken advantage of this. And so if it's something, once you learn a little bit more, that you're seriously considering, we can connect you with one of our alumni that have gone through this master's program. They can tell you about it from their experience, how it tied in with our coaching certificate, how it's leveraged them in their career and helped them move forward. So those are all.
Yeah, we had a quick question about degrees. And so just to clarify, you don't need a bachelor's to take our coaching program.
Oh, thank you.
That would just be if you want to take the master's. So before starting your master's degree, you would need to have completed the BS degree. And then you can get started with the master's degree. To take our program, we just ask that you have some sort of 5-year work experience so that you have a little bit of the knowledge of the world, and that's it. So yeah, it's
Awesome. Thank you, Heather.
sure.
All right. So one of the most commonly, Angela, you didn't, I just want to make sure I'm not leaving you out. Did you have anything to add to where I am right now?
No,
Okay. Okay. But feel free to jump in, Angela.
Okay,
If you
thank
do.
you. Okay.
One of the most commonly asked questions that we get here is about financing your education. And while we don't offer financial aid in the same way as a traditional four-year institution, we do have resources here in our organization to help you. Our organization pairs with a number of financial institutions to help you secure a student loan. So if you would need a student loan to pay for the program, there's really great resources actually to do the initial kind of learning about that on our website. And you can let us know that you're interested in that. We can guide you to the appropriate page on our website. You can see what financial institutions we partner with and what that application process looks like. In addition, you might be wondering if there's any discounts or how you're going to pay for this program. You're thinking, I want to do this, and this is a big investment. So what can I take advantage of? Just for being here today, we're going to give you a $100 off coupon. So thanks for being online, and you can use that to sign up for the program. If you are a UC Davis staff member, we have a small discount, so you can reach out to Heather and I, and we can let you know what that is. And this program is really unique because we actually have a payment plan for this program. It's the only program that I know of in our organization that has a payment plan. We know this is a big amount, and so some people need to break it down into smaller chunks, and we help you do that. Basically, our payment plan will take the total cost of the program and break it down into 3 installments. So as I mentioned earlier, when you submit the application, you don't have to submit any fees or money at that time. Once you're accepted into the program, we'll ask you for 1/3 of the program cost. You can pay the whole fee, of course, but if you want to use the payment plan option, we ask you for 1/3 of the course program cost. And then there's a couple dates that you'll pay the 2nd and 3rd installment by. But essentially, by the time you get, before halfway through the program, you're fully paid. But hopefully, I think that breaking it up does help people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to take a look at what that looks like, you're going to submit your application. You want to see early what do those payment plan amounts look like and dates look like. You can just ask Heather, and she'll be happy to send that to you, won't you?
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, she will. All right. So applying for our program is pretty easy. Our application is all online, and there's a cute little doggy that's included.
He's applying.
I like the dog. That's really cute. And right now, as I mentioned, we're accepting applications for our summer quarter program, which starts in July. We will offer this again in our winter quarter, which will start late January, early February, in that time frame. So if you're thinking like, oh, July's coming up kind of soon, I know I'm not interested in that one, but I'm interested in the program, you can always reach out to Heather and let her know, hey, not going to apply for summer, but I'm interested in applying. She'll keep track of your information, and once we have the dates finalized for that winter quarter, we'll let you know before we put them online to the public. We'll kind of give you an inside scoop. Hey, here are the dates for the new program. Here's when the application will go online. So let her know if you're interested in that, and she can keep you in the loop on that. But for our summer quarter program, our application deadline is March 23rd. You apply online and submit it, and then you'll be notified the week of April 6th as to your status in the program. Anything you want to add?
Nope, that's great.
Okay. Our application consists of you first create your online profile, and it kind of looks like, oh, you're just creating like a password almost like to get into something, but I want to encourage you, this becomes part of your application. So that first part of creating a profile asks you for your work history and some specific information is really important to us because it does become part of your formal package. And then you just answer 4 questions. Super easy. The questions are here for you on the screen. And what I like to say is that how you answer the questions, like what words you use and how smart you sound, none of that is important. what is important is that you take time to really tell your story. Sometimes we receive applications, what are your short and long-term professional objectives? And someone will write, I want to complete the certificate, period. Well, if we have 50 people applying and we have 30 spots, we're not going to know enough about you to understand what brought you to coaching. Why do you care about coaching? What impact in the world do you hope to make once you get this coaching certificate? So there's no right or wrong answer. It's really just about sharing your experience with the program directors, who are the ones that review this application, so they can feel your heart and soul and your connection to this program. That's what I want to encourage you to do. All right, and then we're pretty much winding down to our Q&A session. Heather, do we have any questions that have come in?
Yeah, let's take a second to make sure we're caught up here.
All right.
We've had some good ones. So we talked about the different application deadlines. So right now we're accepting for summer.
Yes.
The application for the winter isn't active online yet, but that's okay. You can respond to the email that you're going to get tomorrow to let me know, hey, I'm interested. Let me know as soon as stuff is going on. So I'll put you on my list, and come August-ish, we should have information about the winter program, and I'll say, okay, hey guys, you're the first to know. This is what's happening. This is when the application deadline is going to be. So you'll be on a first to know basis. Then let's see, we had a question about class size, and I think you mentioned we generally have classes somewhere between 25 to 30 students. We try to keep it small enough that it's still an intimate experience, but large enough that we can get as many folks as we can in who are interested. And then we have a question here about the business end of things, and it's a good question. It's one I see pretty commonly. Do we go over how to start a business, marketing, these kinds of things? And I think we can get this from a couple perspectives, but basically the short answer is no, not really. So the program is really focused on the core skills of a coach. We are building coaches, and those coaches may go and do a lot of different things. So we don't spend the time on creating your own business, because it may only be that 4 people in the class are creating their own business. So what we do is we rely on our alumni, as well as the ICF, to help our students with the business. Those ones who are entrepreneurs and they're going to be starting that business, we say, okay, connect up with these folks, these alumni on the network, and they can let you know all the steps and details. And then if you really want a full class experience, the ICF has classes just special, particularly for starting your own coaching business. And Angela, I don't know if you received any information or if you're going to be doing coaching business per se, but have you seen that be useful with the alumni network?
Well, actually, I was going to chime in and say that I'm in the process of getting that set up right now. So I can speak to the fact that I do want to take some of the ICF classes on those topics, but I haven't needed to yet, to be completely honest. The network of coaches that's been available and the resources section of the ICF website have both been extremely helpful in helping me think through how I want to do this, and the more technical points of how to get things set up. And so I don't think I could say too much how valuable those resources are.
Yeah, awesome.
Excellent. All right.
Well, any other questions? It doesn't look like there's any other questions in our Q&A bank, and we're just a couple minutes out from the end of our time. So we want to make sure we fulfill our commitment to you and end the session on time. With that, I would like to just take a moment to thank you for attending today online. We know it's 4 o'clock. We know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and we're just grateful for your presence here in this moment right now with us. We hope that you have learned something today, and that this was a good time to answer your questions and to help you think through if this coaching program is right for you, and maybe if coaching is right for you. You'll see on the screen an Apply Now button. This is what it looks like on our website. So you can go there, click on that button, look at the application and fill it out and submit it by that deadline. I want to thank Angela Lindley for being here today as our alumni. Thank you so much, Angela. Really, your time is so valuable.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Again, the application is totally free to get into, so get in, look at it. Don't be afraid of it, play around with it. And you guys are going to be getting an email from me tomorrow that you can respond to, and you'll be getting a recording of this probably next week after IT deals with it and does their special things. So we'll be available to you guys, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, everyone. You know, coaching is a journey. So you have, just by being here today, and I'm sure before today, already started that journey and that exploration. And we want to be part of your ongoing journey. So we do hope to meet you and see you in class. And Heather and I are here for you. Any questions you have, reach out to us. We're here to support you and be a resource for you.
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.